Hello students, I am Sayon from the Department of Mechanical Engineering. Today, through a PowerPoint presentation, I am going to introduce the welding technology. Okay, so I am going to my first slide, that is the main contents. Basically, I am going to cover the 4 topics through this video lecture. That is introduction, review of welding process, welding terminology, and the joint design. Now I'm going to the introductory part, that is the what do you mean by welding. Basically, this is a permanent type of joint to join the two metals or non-metals. Basically, joints are 2 types, that is temporary joint or permanent joint, and welding is a permanent type of joint. Other types of joints are there, like the mechanical joints, adhesive joints. In case of mechanical joints, basically we use nut and bolts. And in case of adhesive joints, this is the most common joint that we use, that is adhesives. We use adhesives to join two metals or non-metals, like glue. Okay. Next, similar or dissimilar metals can be welded. Next, we have to use the heat. Next, with or without use of filler materials. That means we can use the filler metal or we cannot use the filler metals. That means without use of filler metals also we can do the welding. That depends on the which type of welding we are using. Again, with or without applying the pressure. Okay. And next, also with or without using the shading agents or flux. Here is another important term, that is the flux. Basically, flux is a chemical compound that is used to remove the oxide layer from the metals. Before any type of welding, we have to prepare our job for the welding. Okay, and to prepare this, we have to eliminate the oxide layer from the metals. Then only we can get touch with the fresh metals for the welding. Okay, so flux is a very important thing in case of welding, but still it depends on the types of weldings we that depends on the according to our welding types. Okay, another important term, that is the coalescence of two metals at joint. That means there will be the similarity between the materials of the joint and the base metals. Okay, and this is represented by this word, that is the coalescence. Now I'm going to my next slide, that is the definition of the welding through a block diagram. I've already told that we have to use the heat, and this heat can be generated by electrical current or gas or chemical reaction or laser ultrasonic or friction or explosive. There are many ways to generate this heat, and through this we have to melt our base metal, and then only we can join our metals. Okay, and here there is an option to use the filler metal and not to use the filler metals. Also, this will depend on the types of weldings. Next, this is the brief history of welding. I'm not going into detail in the history. Okay. Next, the types of welding. Basically, there are 3 types of weldings, like the solid state welding, liquid state welding, and another is heterogeneous welding. Okay. In case of solid state welding, that is also called autogeneous welding. That means no filler material will be used. Okay, and another is liquid state welding, that is called homogeneous welding, and another is heterogeneous welding, and there filler material will be different from the base metal. Okay, so with respect to use of the filler metals, we can distinguish these terms. Basically, in case of our workshop, we will practice the gas welding and the arc welding, and in the arc welding basically we prefer the SMAW. Okay, and in case of this solid state welding, we practice one friction welding also. I'm going detail about these topics in my upcoming videos. Next, one important term, that is weldability. That means weldability represents the ability of welding of a metal, and it can be represented by the metallurgical capacity, by the mechanical soundness, and the serviceability. Okay, basically mechanical ability means parent material will join the base metal. Okay, and the mechanical soundness means joint will be free from the any type of defects. Here some defects are also written, like the gas porosity, sinkage, slack, cracks. These are all the defects. And another important, that is serviceability, that is the weld capacity to perform under varying conditions. The conditions are also written here. I am not reading all the points. Next, that is the welding positions. There may be various welding positions, like the first one, this type of position is called flat position. Second one, this type of position is called horizontal, this is called vertical, and this is called the overhead. Okay, here is also one arrow, this represent the increasing the difficulty. Okay, so with respect to the flat one, the overhead welding is more difficult. Okay, next we can also define with the joint designs our welding process, like this is our butt joint, this is our fillet joint, this is strap joint, this is called lap joint, this is called corner joint. This is also called the T joint. Okay, these are the types, common types of welding joints. Next important term, that is welding terminology. For any type of welding, so we can see these common terms. Here I am going to discuss about these terminologies. At first, this picture represents a simple butt joint. Okay, and this is a simple corner joint. I am going to describe with this simple butt joint. Here it is written the base metal. Basically, base metal is the metal that to be joined or cut is termed as the base metal. And another term, that is the here this is called a reinforcement. I'm going to that point. One point is not here, that is also written here, that is the weld face. Okay, all the weld breed also this is called. Okay, basically this is called breed, and breed is the metal added during a single pass of welding. Okay, and the breed appears as a separate metal from the base metal. Next, that is the penetration. Here it is the written penetration. Basically penetration is the depth up to which the weld metals combine with the base metal and measured from the top surface of the joint. This is called the penetration. Another, there is a term, that is a root. Basically root is the point at which the two pieces are to be joined by the welding are nearest. Okay, this is the root. This is called the root opening, this is called the root face. Okay, this is called the fusion zone. There are two portions. Okay, the in this entire section mean the fusion will occur. Another important term, that is the reinforcement. Okay, the upper face of this breed is called the reinforcement, and the junction of this breed and the base metal is called toe. The toe term is written here, not written here. Okay, toe. These are the main welding terminologies. Next, I'm going to the symbols. That means a welder have to understand the symbols before any type of weldings if he is working in a field or in a workshop. Okay, so he have to understand the drawing of welding before the practical one. So these are the example of the welding. This is the geometry symbol of the V groove. Okay, so by these symbols we can represent one welding. Next, other symbols are also there for the butt joint. Okay, this is called the weld symbol. For the square groove, for the bevel groove, this is also a symbol. For the B groove also there. Okay, next, For the fillet joints also there are the symbols like the J groove. These grooves are mainly the part of the edge preparation. I'm not going into detail into this lecture. For the corner joints, there are also various symbols that are shown in the picture. This is the generalized welding symbol. Through this generalized symbol, we can define any type of welding. Okay. So now all the terms are written here. Please look into this. That is D, capital D, shown here through this symbol. D is called the weld depth. Okay, and L1, L2 terms are there. L1 is the weld length, and L2 is the distance between the centers of the welds. Okay, and this V portion is the electrode material. Okay, another, this symbol denotes the field work symbol, and this circular symbol shows the weld all around the pipes or all around the job. Okay, these are the main generalized symbols for the welding. So if you like this video, please like and share. Basically, through this video lecture, I have discussed about the introductory part. In my upcoming videos, I am going to discuss about in detail all type of welding joints. Okay, and the on the defects are also I'm going to discuss. Thank you again.